Today must be the most beautiful day I have lived. Waves are coming in, but I am sitting still. There ain't nothing I want for. I got everything that I need. Everything. So my conclusion is, it's the most beautiful day that I ever lived. This special morning is the most fabulous morning I've seen. Woke up in the sunshine, made myself a cup of tea. Grandpa kissed my forehead, grateful for another day. I should just start by saying, those of you that don't know me, the past 18 months, I've been through 3 of the most traumatic things anyone could go through. First, I lost my mum. Then a few months after that, I had a complete mental breakdown, total, utter mental breakdown. Then I was just getting over that, and we went into lockdown, all that stuff. So then I had some complete panic and worry about how I was going to look after my animals, how I was going to cope financially. And then I lost my pony, which is like losing a child, because he'd been in my life 22 years and my fur babies are my children. And then my marriage broke down. And despite all that, despite the fact that I have been on the floor at times, I have been on the floor, and there was one time I was driving back home in my van, and for a second I thought about driving headfirst into a tree. I'll admit that. But despite all that, I am probably the happiest, the freest I have been in years. It's the longest I've been single, and you know what? It's probably the first time since I was 16 that I haven't either been in or been looking for a relationship, and life is fucking incredible. I know without a doubt, without a single doubt, that if I had not done all the work that I've done on myself, working on my mindset, if I hadn't kind of like got in touch with my spirituality, my divinity, I would probably not be sat here. I certainly would not be sat here smiling. I'd have probably gone completely to pieces. In fact, I don't even know if I'd be here. That's God's honest truth. I don't know if I'd still be here. So this is why I'm so passionate about everything that I share, because I know how powerful it is, because it's stuff that I do. It's stuff that I do on a daily basis. We never get it sussed. There is no there to get to. As human beings, there is no finishing line. We are all a work in progress, and we will be until we take our last breath. And that is something that I really want to impress upon you, because we kind of get frustrated and upset and angry sometimes because, I haven't got it all sussed yet, or we make mistakes, or we do things that we know we shouldn't do that annoy us, and blah, 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 blah. And we are human, okay? We only learn by making mistakes, for one. We only ever learn the hard way. There is no easy way to learn. And as I said, there is no there to get to. There is no there to get to. We will always be a work in progress. And here's the thing. Whilst you may think, oh, Christ, oh, God, actually, it's liberating. Once you accept that there is no there to get to, it's actually really liberating, because you can then relax and enjoy the journey a bit more. Or at least that's how it worked with me. Once I realized that there is no there, because what happens when you work on your mindset, when you work on yourself, you reach another level, a new level of understanding, a new level of being, a new way of acting in life. And with each new level you get to comes a new set of kind of challenges. I was about to say problems, but challenges. But the thing is, things happen when we are ready for them. We may not feel ready for it. I'm so grateful for my husband walking out on me. So, so grateful, because I would never have left him. Even though I knew unconsciously that we weren't happy, I wouldn't have left him for fear of coping on my own financially and stuff like that. So I'm so grateful that he left me, and I held on to my faith that the universe would provide for me, because we tend to think in terms of limits. We tend to think in terms of, okay, this is what I've got. I've got this much and I haven't got any more. When you let go of that idea, when you open your eyes, open your door, and realize that this whole universe is our playground. This whole universe is our playground. all the resources, all the things that we'll ever need, whether that be someone to love, whether that be money, whether that be clients, whether that be whatever it is, it's already there. It's already there. So when I am wanting more clients, more students, they're already there. I haven't got to create them. I haven't got to go to IKEA and put them together. They're already there. Everything I need. It's like, if you are hungry, it's not a lack of food that's causing you to be hungry. You may say it's a lack of money, but there is food out there. There is food out there. It's not a lack of food. It's not a lack of resources. It's a lack of being receptive. You know, a lot of people say, oh, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And I'll tell you why that is. It's energy. Pure and simple, it's energy. The system has been set up so that most of us don't remember that we are all energy and money is just another energetic component. And so we have been brainwashed into believing in limits, in our own limits. So I can only do this much, I can only have this much, and an us and them, in that, oh, other people live their dreams, other people get what they want, other people have an amazing life, not me. And that's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. And just as another side note, I know quite a few people who over the past year, when things began a bit to shit, have thrived. I know people who have changed careers, who have started new businesses. I know people who've had their best months and year ever in terms of clients, in terms of earning. And it's because they know that everything they need already exists. And this is part of what the law of attraction is. I mean, if you've ever read The Secret, you kind of may have an idea of what it is, but unfortunately The Secret is not very helpful. And I know because I read that book years ago, and for anyone who's read it, you'll understand what I mean. And I wrote myself a check, and I looked at it every night, and £10,000 didn't just drop out of the sky. And I was like, doesn't work for me. But the thing is, it's a universal law. It's the same as gravity. If I pick up this pen, it drops. That's the law of gravity. It applies to every single thing on this planet. So does the law of attraction. But I want to start off by giving you homework. Now, I don't expect you to do it right now, but I want you to start thinking. First part, what do you desire? What do you desire? Now, when I asked myself this question a while ago, I couldn't think of anything. And I had to think, hang on a minute, you can't think of anything that you want? Anything at all? And I realized that I was stuck focusing on what I already had or what I thought was possible. I just want to say that again so you get it. I was stuck focusing on what I already had and what I thought was possible based on what I had in that moment. When I realized that, when I asked myself the question, okay, if you could do, be, have absolutely anything, what do you desire? And then I came out with a whole fucking heap of stuff, whole absolute heap of stuff. And that is the biggest challenge. I was trying to use the word challenge rather than the problem. We get fixated on where we are now. We get fixated on what we've got now. It's like, I've got this much water in my glass. I've got this much money in my bank account. My house is this big. And we get fixated on that. And so we stay stuck there. And it takes quite a leap to be able to think beyond the terms of limits. And the way I do that is I think about going outside, looking at the sky, and thinking to myself, if I was just to go up there, I could go and go and go and go and go. There is no sky, there is no limit, there is no ceiling, there is no end. I could be going for days, weeks, months, years. There is no limits. And we, our planet Earth, is a tiny speck in the whole universe. And that's the way we've got to start thinking. We've got to remember that it's not just us in our house, in our body. We have been gifted this whole fucking universe, not just this earth, this whole universe. It's our playground. And the reason that the rich people get richer is because they are open to receiving. Whereas the rest of us are like, oh no, I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy, I didn't earn it. They're better than me. And that, in its simplest form, is the reason why the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Because mindset affects our energy. So I'm going to ask you, what do you desire? Let go of the ego. Well, that's not possible, and I can't do that because, and well, blah, blah, blah. Let go of that. If you could have, if you could do, if you could be absolutely anything, what would you have? What would you desire? I mean, like, what would your perfect life look like? What would a perfect day look like to you? And I ask myself this sometimes, like yesterday, I thought to myself, perfect day would be getting up in the morning quite early, kind of 5 o'clock when it's hot, getting in my horse lorry, loading up on the ponies, going maybe to Holcombe Beach or to the woods, going for a nice ride whilst it's still quite cool, then coming back and then spending the day at the beach with my king, holding hands, walking along, being romantic and this, that and the other, and went on from there. I don't have a horse box yet, but I allow myself to dream. I allow myself to vision, because there is already a horse box out there somewhere. There is already a horse box. I don't have to create it. It's already there. There is already the person I'm going to have my next relationship with. They're already there. They already exist. I just need to allow myself to be open to attract them. If you think of the law of attraction, it's like magnets. Magnets. You've got to attract what you desire to you. But we do so much that actually repels everything that we desire. And we'll talk a bit more about that later. So I want you to really think beyond all realms of possibilities, probabilities, blah, 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 responsibilities, all that shit. If someone could wave a magic wand, what does your perfect life look like? What would you be doing? Who would you be? What would you have? That is the first part of your homework. The second part is, I want you to list all the reasons why you don't deserve that. I want you to list all the reasons you do not deserve any of those desires. List why you're not good enough. I want you to tell me why you're not good enough. I need you to tell me why you're not worthy. Why other people can have their dreams come true, but you can't. Okay, I need you to tell me that. I need you to tell me all the reasons. So write them all out. However, whether it's a page, whether it's 10 pages, write them all out. Give it to me. The third part is, I want you to list at least 10 people who are worthy, who are good enough, who you believe are worthy of having their dreams come true, who are good enough, you know, this mythical good enough that we go on about. So tell me 10 people who you believe, who according to you are good enough. Okay, that's your homework. So, what are chakras? Chakras are part of the energy system. Now, I just want to start by saying that 20 odd years ago, I would have thought this was all complete and utter bullshit. Absolute nonsense. I didn't believe in energy. I didn't believe in Reiki. I didn't believe in spirits, even though I've had ghostly experiences. I didn't believe in crystals. I didn't believe in any of that. Not at all. If you'd have started talking to me about chakras and this, that, and the other, meridians and all that stuff, I'd have thought it was the biggest load of baloney in the world. But here's the thing. Everything in this universe is energy. We are made up of cells. And if you were to look at a cell under a really high-powered microscope, you would see that it is, each cell is kind of like, let me try and kind of draw. This is really, really rough drawing. Imagine that's a cell. That's a single cell. And you've got the nucleus in the middle, that little bit. And then all this around here, scientists used to think, oh, there's all this empty space. There's like 99.9%, 99.99999% space. It's like, that doesn't make sense. It's empty. Then they finally realized that it's not empty at all. That's energy. That's energy. And the other thing is, if you, again, were to look at cells, hundreds and hundreds, trillions and trillions of cells under a microscope, I ought to get a book deal, oughtn't I? You would see them moving. Have you ever seen a picture of like a petri dish, like in science, with the bacteria and that moving? That is what our cells look like. That is what our cells look like. And I've heard of some fascinating studies. Like there was one done, I heard about a while ago. They took some blood cells from someone, and they put blood cells in 2 separate dishes. And then they did some things like they played some music or whatever, stimulated it with electric shocks, those kind of things. And they noticed that whatever they did to one lot of blood cells, the other blood cells reacted. And they were so shocked by this that they played around with it a bit more. And so they took these other blood cells like 10, 20 miles away. Same thing happened. Whatever they did to the blood cells in place A, the blood cells in place B reacted, because it's an energetic connection. It's like how you hear stories of people who've had transplants, heart transplants, or even hand transplant, any kind of organ transplant, whatever I just said, whatever kind of transplant. You hear stories of people developing habits and likes that they never liked before. You know, people suddenly liking pizza when they never liked it before. That is because we are energy. If you were to look at my hand feels quite solid. Right, my hand, you know, I couldn't stick this pen through it. But again, if I was to look at my hand in the most powerful, magnified, what do you call it? Not stethoscope, microscope, that's the one. You would see the cells are moving. And there are atoms so tiny that they can pass through the human body without us even realizing it. So I could be sat here with my hand like that, and there are atoms that can go through my body without me feeling it, because we are not solid. We feel solid, but we're not solid. And so under a powerful microscope, you'd see it all moving. And plus, if I was to crush my body down, my physical body down, if I was to take all the water out of the bones, wring the water out of the organs, my body would be tiny. So we are energy. And emotions are energy emotions. So anytime you have a thought, it triggers a chemical reaction in our body. So for example, if you hear a song that reminds you of an unhappy time, say a song that reminds you of someone you broke up with, you feel sad. You physically feel sad. Same as if you hear a song that reminds you of a happy time, you physically feel good, because we are processing those thoughts through our body. And our bodies are like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like a receptor, like an aerial. We pick things up from the world around us. It's like, I'm sure you've had a time when you've walked into a room and there are a couple of people in there and you just know that they've been arguing. Even though they're quiet, you know they've been arguing because you could pick up on the vibes, the bad vibes. Or you've walked into somewhere and you get bad vibes, or you go into somewhere and get good vibes. It's all energy. And we are energy, and we have our own energy system. And I mean, there's all like theories that we have hundreds of chakras, but we're just going to focus on the basic ones. So we've got the root chakra, which is at the our tailbone, and that is associated with our physical needs, our survival, because that runs down to our legs, so that's our physical survival. Our connection to earth, our connection to our tribe, so our family, our soul family, you know, people we love, maybe not necessarily related to. Also our protection. So for example, this last year, a lot of people with losing their job and stuff like that are probably likely to have had problems in their legs, hips, lower back through fear, because us humans have a need for security. We have a need to know we've got somewhere to sleep at night, we've got a roof over our head, and we've got food in the cupboard, and that we can be safe. Then we've got the sacral chakra, which is just above it, which is associated with our sense of rhythm, of flowing with life, our sense of sexuality, sensuality, creativity. Then you have our solar plexus just above the belly button, which is our sense of self, our sense of power, of courage, confidence, which is why we often do that, fold our arms like that, when we feel kind of under attack. You know, if someone's getting in your face, we'll often like cross your arms in front of your chest, and that's a means of protecting that center. And of course, you've got your heart center, which is associated with love, with connection, with acceptance, with forgiveness, and that goes for others as well as ourselves. Not just accepting ourselves, but accepting others. Then you've got the throat chakra, third eye chakra, crown chakra. So say, for example, you are worrying about something. Often you get like butterflies in the tummy, or your guts feel like they're being twisted, or you have stomachache, diarrhea, constipation, whatever, when you're stressed, because you're processing it through your solar plexus and sacral chakra. Or you feel something, you get an instinct, you get that gut instinct. You've all heard the saying gut instinct. Then it gets to your heart. Shall I? Shan't I? Is it the right thing to do? What can I do? What can I say? Blah, blah, blah. Then it gets to our throat. And this is where a lot of people struggle. Can I say it? Can I speak up? You know, so many people feel afraid to say what they really believe, what they really think, for fear of reprisals, for fear of rejection, for fear of ridicule. You know, people who may be in a job where they feel bullied and they feel like they can't speak up for themselves because they don't want to lose their job, can end up with problems with their throat, sore neck, stiff shoulders, because it literally gets stuck. We want to speak up, but we can't, feel like we can't say it. So we're going to be talking about our heart, because the signs of imbalance can also cause an imbalance. So signs of imbalance are the classic people pleaser, wanting to make other people happy, always putting other people first and themselves last. Giving too much, give, but feel unable to receive and return. Not being able to accept compliments. Feeling either envious of other people, you know, resenting other people who are happy, or always in a relationship, codependent. Unable to forgive either themselves or others, you know, people who hold a grudge, who like, you know, go on and on about something, never let something go. People filled with self-loathing, self-disgust. All those things are a sign of imbalance, and they can cause an imbalance. So if you're the kind of person who is always giving but doesn't ever receive, doesn't ever allow anyone to give to you, that can actually block your heart. Because one of the myths and bullshit lies we've been brought up with is, oh, it's better to give than receive, and it's selfish to want more than you need, and blah 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 blah. It's wrong to desire things, you know, you're ungrateful if you and it's all bollocks. It's all absolute bollocks, because energy needs to flow. Hey Debbie, energy needs to flow. It's like my flowers are a bit dying off now, but if you've ever left a vase of flowers for a while, the water stinks, doesn't it? When you get it out, it stinks. That's because it's not flowing. It's not flowing, so it becomes stagnant. And if we only give and we don't receive, we're actually blocking the flow. We're blocking a flow. And here's what I used to say to my ex-husband, now ex-husband. He would struggle to let anyone help him. And I said, that's selfish. That's actually selfish, because he used to get immense pleasure from helping other people. That gave him pleasure to help other people. So but you are denying other people the pleasure of helping or giving to you. And once you start to kind of think of it that way, it makes it easier to receive. Because as I said at the beginning, this whole universe is our playground. But most of us are walking around going, oh, I don't deserve it. Oh no, I feel guilty. Oh, I'm selfish if I want more than that. Oh, And whilst there are other people out there going, yes, please, thank you. I was sat at the beach yesterday, and I was looking out at the ocean. And I'm thinking, wow, that's for me. That's for you too, but that's for me. And most of us are going out to the ocean with a piddly little spoon saying, oh, okay, I'll have a little bit. When we should be going up to it with a fucking great bucket saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because another way of looking at it is, the more you have, the more you can give. I want shitloads of money. I want fucking shitloads of money. Do you know why? Because I could help so many people. I could build my rehab next to my animal rescue centre. I can create homes for single people with animals. I could do so much. And that's why I want my money. But that's another story. But once you get the hang of the fact that everything needs to flow, so as you give, so you need to learn to become a grateful and graceful receiver. Because when you accept, whether it's help, whether it's a compliment, whether it's a gift, whatever it is, you are giving someone else pleasure. They are getting pleasure from giving to you. So it's about giving and receiving, because otherwise you're stopping the flow. You're creating a blockage. You're going to get stagnant water. And when you have a more open heart, and you can remember that it's not selfish to want more, And it's good to give and receive. The pleasure we get from giving, we are allowing someone else by letting them give to us. Whether it's a compliment, whether it's a gift, whatever it is, does not matter. So we need to have an open heart so that energy can flow. Now, just as a note, the reason I asked you in the beginning to list all the reasons why you do not deserve your desires or your dreams is because so many of us, and I did it as well, go through life going, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, blah, 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 blah. And yet we don't actually stop to ask, what the fuck does that actually mean? Why am I not good enough? And if I'm not good enough, who the fuck is? Because if we are all spiritual beings, which we are, if we are all energy, which we are, then we were gifted this life in order to live it to our fullest expression, which means accepting all the abundance in this universe. And we are denying our divinity by saying, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. That's like saying God, the universe, source, divine intelligence, whatever name you wish to call it, it's like saying it made a mistake when you came into existence. And that's not true. So once we kind of get over the fact that our worth is not dictated on what we look like or what we've done, it's not about our past, it's not about our behaviors, our habits, whatever, we just are worthy. And this is why I said to you, tell me 10 people who are worthy. And I really want you to think about it, because it's only often when we start to question these beliefs that we've had for so many years that we start to realize how ridiculous they are. And I'd say, I've been there, I'm not good enough, I'm not da 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 da. I've been there, believe me, I spent years there, I spent absolutely years there. So I just want to start off with a very, very quick kind of like body scan, just to give you an idea. Some of you have probably done this before, just to demonstrate fully how emotions flow through our body and the sensations, the energy that we create by our thoughts. So I just want you to sit comfortably, preferably in a hard back chair, so you're sat upright with the spine upright, feet flat on the floor. Just rest your hands. So we don't want to sit rigid, but we don't want to slouch either. So have your spine nice and tall and just allow your eyes to close. So just literally close your eyes. And just notice your body resting on the chair. Don't have to do anything, don't have to change anything. Just simply notice your body resting on the chair. I want you to breathe deeply. You can breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Relax your belly, relax your chest. And just start to notice where you're breathing. So notice, are you breathing down into your rib cage? If so, try and breathe a little bit deeper. Breathe down into your belly. If you're breathing down into your belly, try and breathe even deeper, right down into your pelvis. You feel your belly expanding fully on the in-breath. And relaxing on the out-breath. With each breath, see if you can breathe even more deeply. So not being in a rush. See how deeply you can breathe. Feel your rib cage expand, your belly expand. Feel your chest rise, even your collarbones lifting slightly. On the exhale, feel everything relax. So shoulders relax, rib cage relax, belly button draws in towards the spine. We often rush our breathing, just as we rush most things in life. And continue to breathe that way as deeply as you can, breathing in as slowly as you can. And breathing out as slowly as you can. Just notice how changing your breathing affects you on a physical, energetic, emotional level. And just allowing yourself to breathe that nice deep breath, feeling softness at the end of each breath. And I just want you to scan your awareness through your body. Again, not doing anything in particular, just literally noticing Maybe you can start at the top of your head. Just scanning down. Imagine scanning down through your eyes, your forehead, through your ears, your cheeks, your mouth, your jaw. So just check that you're not clenching your teeth. Allow your tongue to float in your mouth. Relax your throat. Scanning down through your shoulders, your arms, down to the tips of your fingers. And your awareness just float down through your chest and upper back, through your whole rib cage, down into your belly, imagining all your inner organs softening and relaxing, just like any other muscle. Being aware of your pelvis, your buttock muscles, your thighs, your knees. Aware of your calf muscles, your ankles, your feet and toes. And still breathing deeply, bring your awareness to your heart space. Imagine a point almost in the center of your rib cage, kind of just behind your sternum, slightly in front of your spine. It's like a little ball of light in the center of your chest. You can imagine it as an emerald green color, about the size of a ping pong ball. And keeping your eyes closed, just notice whatever sensations, whatever thoughts arise, and whatever you see behind your eyes as well. And just notice whatever sensations are there. Do you get a sense of emptiness or fullness? Does it feel soft or hard, light or heavy, tingling or pulsations? And remember, there may be some sensations that you can't really describe in words, and that's okay. Is there a sense of expansion or contraction? Is there any tightness or tension anywhere? Any sharp pains, any stabbing pains, whether intermittent or regular? Does any area feel tight or maybe too loose? And just keeping your awareness in that space, still visualizing that little circle, that little orb of emerald green light. Still focusing on that center. I want you to bring to mind someone or something that you love. And whatever comes to mind first is perfect. It could be your dog, it could be your partner, it could be your child, it could be someone or something who's no longer on this physical plane. It doesn't matter. So I would often bring to mind Armani, my beautiful pony. Even though it's been a year since I lost him, love doesn't die. So whatever comes first, remember there's no competition, so don't start feeling guilty because you've thought of one thing or not the other. Because I just want you to focus on the energy of love. Just notice what happens in your body as you bring that person or animal or whoever it is, or your car or whatever it might be. Just notice the sensations. It might start to feel like a kind of warmth in the center of your chest. You might get the sensation of that ball of light expanding or starting to pulse like a heartbeat. You might feel tingling sensations or pulsations, or almost like a liquid warmth, whatever it is. There's no rights or wrongs. Everyone's experience is different. But just feel that difference. Feel that shift in your energy just by focusing your attention, your awareness on someone that you love. Because love is something that we have inside ourselves. It's not something we get outside of ourselves. Because that person may not be right in front of you right now, but you can still feel that energy. just taking another nice deep breath. Imagine your whole chest cavity being filled with that love, like an inner smile, an inner hug. And then opening your eyes again when you're ready. So that was just literally a demonstration to show you just how powerful our thoughts are and that energy. So there's nothing outside of you. Amani isn't here with me physically, but I can still feel those sensations. And we are energy. And as I said, I asked you in the beginning, your homework, asking you, what do you desire? What does your perfect life look like? And I really want you to think about that, because as I said, we often, when I asked myself this the first time, I couldn't think of anything because I was fixating on where I am now and what I have right now. And when we're working with energy, we're working with what is possible. So when I stopped being stuck with, well, what I've got now, well, I haven't got much money, so I can't do this, and da, da, da. When I allowed myself to expand into the realms of possibilities, I came out with loads of things. Just a few weeks ago, on the new moon, I set intention to get my own paddleboard, and it's on its way. I haven't paid for it, but I set the intention that I would attract to me my own paddleboard, and my dad's buying me one, because that paddleboard already existed. Just because I didn't have the money for it in my bank account, it already existed. So I just had to be certain and grateful that it was on its way to me. And that is what I want you to get into, the energy I want you to get into when you're thinking about what do you desire. I don't want you to forget about possibilities and probabilities, forget about, well, I'm too old and I haven't got time, blah, 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 blah. If you could have absolutely anything at all, if you want to wake up in the morning and go for a hot air balloon ride, write it down. What does your perfect life look like? I really want you to think about this. I want you to write it down, or you can write it on notes or voice notes, whatever it is. Just get an image, because here's the thing. If we don't know what we want, how the fuck are you going to get it? If you've got no idea what you actually want in life, how the hell is the universe going to deliver it to you? It's like going onto Amazon and saying, is my order ready yet? And yeah, what do you want? Well, I don't know, but you've got to send it. It doesn't work that way. We have to know what we want. We have to know what we want. We have to get clear what we want, and also why. Why do you want that? And if it's just because it'll make you happy, fucking epic, okay? Let go of that, oh, well, I don't really need it. I've really got more than I need. No, let go of all that. What do you desire? It is okay to have desires. If it wasn't okay to have desires, this universe would be a lot smaller and we wouldn't have everything out there available to us. Simple as that. And I also ask you to list all the reasons why you don't deserve that dream life, why you are not worthy, why you are not good enough. And the reason I did that, and I still want you to do it, the reason I did that, because my ex-husband, now ex-husband, he asked me a question which is fucking epic, and I use it all the time when I was going through another phase of, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, blah, blah, blah. And he said, okay, if you are not worthy, then who is, and why are they more worthy than you? And I could not answer. I couldn't answer, because there is no answer. And that is why I started off by saying, I want you to tell me why you are not worthy. Because quite often, we can't answer that. You may come up with, well, I did this when I was younger, and well, I forget things sometimes, and well, I tell the odd white lie, and well, da, da, da. You are not your habits, you are not your behavior, you are not your past, you are not anything that you've done, and there's not a single person on this planet who hasn't made a mistake, who hasn't done something they regret, who hasn't done something foolish. Take away all that. Who is good enough? And what is this mythical good enough? We often say, I'm not good enough. What the fuck is good enough? Again, write that down. What actually is good enough? Because when we start to actually question these beliefs, we realize how ridiculous they are. But we don't often question them. We just go, oh, not good enough, can't do it. When we start to question them, we can realize that there's no validity to them, which is exactly why I want you to do it. Because you start to realize that it is absolute nonsense. It is absolute nonsense. But here's the thing. You may notice, and I've spoken to a lot of people, so I know this is true. The thoughts that we have are recycled. Those thoughts of I'm not good enough, I don't deserve it, blah, 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 blah. They are the same thoughts you had the last time and the time before that and the time before that. I will almost guarantee it. I will almost guarantee when you have those thoughts, they're the same ones you had before. There's nothing new. It might be worded slightly differently, but it's usually the same bullshit. And that is often, with me anyway, it's when I'm tired. It's when I feel a bit tired. That's when my negative voice comes in. And I know now. I know if I'm starting to feel a bit tired and I start getting those, oh, I can't do this, I might as well give up. I'm like, oh, I'm tired. Right, cut the head off the snake. Cut the head off the snake. Because they say snake can bite its own tail. You've got to cut the head off the snake, because if the head bites its tail, you go round, around, 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 around. And so I've talked to a lot of people and I say to them, when you have these negative, I can't, I'm not good enough thoughts, are they pretty much the same thing? Do you think the same thing every time? They're like, actually, yeah, I do. Oh, you're right. You're right. So next time you start going into that cycle of I can't do this, I'm blah, 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 I'm not good enough, go back to your definition. What actually is good enough? What is this good enough? What actually is it? Because you probably won't be able to answer. And that's when you realize how ridiculous it is. So that's what I want you to do. That is what I want you to do. You can do it in voice notes. You can do it writing. You can do it typing. Because I want you to start thinking and start to see that we just are stuck in this kind of like this bullshit notion. And you'll notice that you'll have cycles. So with me, it's when I get tired that those negative voices, I can't do it, blah, 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 come in. And that's another part of what we're going to do, is noticing our cycles so we can cut the head off the snake. But so when we start to really question these self-limiting beliefs, then we can start breaking them down. But normally we don't question them. We just give in to them, like, oh, I can't do it. So write it down. What do you desire? What does your perfect life look like? List all the reasons why you don't deserve it, why you're not worthy, why you're not good enough. And also tell me 10 people who you think are worthy, who you think are good enough. And number 4, what is good enough? Tell me what actually is good enough, because I'm still trying to work it out. I still haven't figured it out yet, because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as good enough. We all are. We all are. And once you realize that, everything starts to flow. It really does. So get on with it, my beautiful, beautiful human, my beautiful friends. You are so amazing. I just can't wait. I love what I do because I just want to show you how amazing you are. Because it took me 47 years to realize how amazing I am. And if you think I'm amazing, I'm a reflection of you. I am you. You am I. We are one. And life is your greatest adventure. It really is your greatest adventure. So much love to you guys, and I shall see you tomorrow. I don't know what time, because I never know what I'm doing, but you can catch up on replay. If you have any questions, just message me, and if you do write it down, please send me your homework, because I want to see it. I want to see if you can actually come up with reasons why you don't deserve it, because then I can start tearing them down one by one. So much love. Mwah!